Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. My name is DeLadysigner, and today I would like to talk with you guys about this super cozy building game called Tiny Glade and share 10 things I would love to see being added to the game. Now obviously this is just a little top 10 of my personal wishes, but I'm sure there are plenty of things you guys can think of that would also be super amazing to see added. So definitely do let me know your wishes in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and make sure to subscribe, of course, if you want to see more Tiny Glade content on the channel. And just so you guys know, the following 10 wishes are in no particular order or not really numbered or anything. These are just simply my personal wishes. It's not that the game is bad or anything like that. I could just see even more potential in the game, and it's just me wishful thinking. So the first thing I want to talk about is the terraforming tool and how buildings react to it. Now I'm actually a big fan of the terraforming tool in this game in general, so don't get me wrong, but I think it would be super cool if we would have more control over how buildings interact with the terrain. Like right now, when you move the terrain up or down or smooth it out, the buildings automatically adjust to it. But if there was an option to turn off that reaction, that way you could hide parts of buildings like inside of the terrain, for example, or even better, like place half of the building into the ground. Like imagine creating like a hobbit house, for example. With the way the game works currently, that's not really possible, but it's definitely something that I would think would be perfect in a cozy game like Tiny Glade. Now, while I was working on my first two builds, I noticed that it's not possible to create like these cute little bridges. You can make like a bridge using building pieces, but a charming rounded bridge over a small little lake or a river isn't really possible in the game, at least not with the tools that we currently have. Like I would absolutely love to see like these little bridges added as separate building pieces so you can create some cute little scenes with them, or maybe it could be more organically. So for example, the pathing tool could automatically create a bridge when you paint over the water. That's at least what I tried to do, but instead it would like add these small little rocks in the water. But it could maybe work that you just double click again and again, and then there will be like a different variation happening when you're adding a path over water, like with different variations, maybe with like a stone bridge or a wooden bridge. I think however they added, I think bridges would be a fantastic addition to the game instead of like the bridges that you can currently make, of course, with the buildings. But also, speaking of water, how about a map with a seaside? I can already imagine the incredibly beautiful things that we could create on the beach of a map like that. Like picture building a stunning cliffside or a hill with a castle on top of it, but then have like this beautiful sea in front of it, or even like a cozy lighthouse. The possibilities on a map with a sea in the game are pretty much endless, I think, and I think it will be such a great new layer of creativity for our builds. Now, when we talk about bridges and paths, I can't deny that one thing really was missing in my builds, which is actual life. Of course, we have those adorable animals like sheep and ducks scattering around the map, but I would love to see some maybe fairy tale characters walking along the path and the bridges that you create, or at least make that optional so players can choose to include them or not. I think it will be a super fun way to bring our builds, especially like cities and villages, more to life. But speaking of animals, while I really enjoy the sheep and the ducks, I can totally see this game become even better with more optional animals to choose from. Think about adding creatures like deer or red foxes, or maybe even raccoons and badgers for that cozy forest vibe. I would absolutely love to see that. We could even take it a step further, though this might stray a bit from the core idea behind Tiny Glade, but as a Planet Zoo player, I can't help but wish for an African savanna map with cute animals like giraffes, zebras, and elephants, but that might not quite match the game's building theme, so maybe that's going a little bit too far, but hey, wishful thinking here, right? Or how about swamps with alligators and mist? I can totally envision a super interesting vibe, especially when playing around with different lighting settings and the times of day in this game, which I absolutely love to play around with. Now, while I've been building over the past few days, I did notice, especially as a creative gamer, that there aren't many options in the game to further decorate your build. You can click on a window a few times to get different options like a wheel, a ladder, clothing line, planters, and so on. But as a creative player, I would love to dive even deeper in customization. I know it might be a lot to ask, but I would absolutely love the option to place these items myself. And of course, like, I would love to see way more decorational options added in the game in general. Like, the same goes for trees, bushes, and plants. Like, while you have a super easy to use brush for adding these elements to your map, I wouldn't be DeLadysigner if I didn't want to see more variety and control over what I include in my builds. I would also love to see separate placeable rocks, for example, being added, because rocks. Do I need to say more as a Planet Zoo player? We just want rocks. I think that would just really improve the natural look of our creations even more and make it even more beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm really enjoying this game already, especially like the simplicity and ease with which you can create beautiful things. But as a creative gaming fan, I think we always crave for more customizable options to really make our builds unique. Now, obviously, it's not all about new content. There are also a few features I would love to see added to the game that would make playing it much easier. While I was building my cozy Disney castle, I noticed there's no way to group buildings together or click multiple buildings if you want to replace them, for example. Like, it would be super nice to be able to select my whole castle and just move it around if I'm not happy with its location. Or for instance, I would have preferred to place the castle on a little mountain. That was my original plan. But yeah, it didn't really work out as I wanted to. Another thing I noticed is the lack of a way to duplicate buildings, like especially when they're in a group or when you are multi-selecting a group of pieces. This would have been incredibly useful for duplicating all the towers around my castle, for example. Like right now, I had to build them all one by one, which felt pretty repetitive at times. But being able to copy and paste would really speed up the process and make it so much easier, especially when creating like a larger village, for example. Like, you could just copy a house and then make just slight adjustments later. So I think an option like this could definitely benefit the game in so many ways for players. And lastly, I would like to mention the need for a faster time of day option, or maybe even slower if you want to, but at least an option to slow it down or speed it up. I'm not sure if this is already in the game or that I maybe just miss it, but I believe the day cycle currently lasts around 8 to 10 minutes. I would just love to see an option to be able to speed this up, especially for cinematic mode of this game. But I could also see you guys wanting to play with the time of day, but slow it down a lot more when you're just building. So yeah, that would definitely be something that I really would love to see in the game as well. So those were the 10 things I would love to see added to Tiny Glade, but I'm super curious to hear your thoughts and ideas about this as well. Are there any other changes or features or things that you would like to see in the game? Do let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. I definitely have you covered for more Tiny Glade content on the channel, and I really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!